Yeah, exactly. Why not? It worked really well for RNG last time. They had the early aggression. You just saw how much a Clinks can get without farm. I mean, September was pretty farmed up, but even without that early farm, you just get a couple of kills in the laning phase, you end up with 10 bonus
10
damage with the
seconds
death pack.
remaining.
It gets a bit hard to control. And eHome in this
5
case at
seconds
least have the
remaining.
Pango for the disarm. So you can potentially stop that physical damage from flying out, but considering how RNG do play, I think the Clink still fits into this kind of lineup. So let's see what eHome does pull out here. They're gonna have to understand the pace RNG wants to play with the Clinks, and they should kind of set themselves up there. Maybe an Oracle pickup to mitigate that damage would be nice, but it has its vulnerabilities up against the Clinks as well.
Right. Well, EHOME will see what the idea is here. I gotta say that that rolling thunder into the skeleton army of the Clinks can be quite dangerous as well.
Turn to pick.
Sometimes you just roll into the skeleton army, and if you don't really pay attention to what that army's aiming at, and it's aiming at you, it does a lot of damage even through that rolling thunder. We'll see RNG going to the Monkey King as EHOME.Immortal went into the PL pickup. How do you feel about the PL pick here, John? It's into a Mars, makes it a bit hard, because again, you can't really harass this Mars out unless you go with the Shadow Demon lane, with the Shadow Demon PL. But even then, once you get to that mid game, you have God's Rebuke to clear out the PL illusions fairly easily. Good catch there with the Mars, Arena of Blood, and Spear, as well as the Fiend's Grip from the Bane. Oh, they go for a
Ooh.
Dazzle now, which again is kind of protecting from the Mars, Arena of Blood, but the question still stands. How does this PL go this game?
It's not the worst PL game. It's not the best. I think the big thing you're getting from that PL pickup in this case is the Clinks is not going to be able to pick you off as often. So not it wasn't like
10
Lycan where
seconds
Clinks just
remaining.
runs up. You're either forced to ult or you just die, especially if the Mars is
5
there to follow up.
seconds
This case, you
remaining.
have a lot more leeway to run away. So I think
Okay.
that's what EHOME.I wants. They want to be able to have a core that can just basically escape without committing an ult. The Dazzle is there as well, you mentioned, to save, and of course it is fairly potent in the off lane, which we do tend to see, it is pretty much a core pick, usually not support. Which lane it goes to is up in the
Red
air. You've
team
seen
back.
some mid Dazzle every now and again, but not sure if that's really what you'd want here for eHOME.I. RNG, they've still got the answers in their draft. If the game stalls out, EHOME.I can be hard to deal with, especially with the Dazzle.
Right.
Once you hit the level 18 mark, you've got Guardian Greaves up at that point. You've got all the sustain. Can be pesky, but
10
beyond
seconds
that,
remaining.
it's not the most terrifying. I think the PL. I mean, it's
5
a great
seconds
core.
remaining.
Hmm.
It's just that we've seen so many PLs where you kind of lose your tempo, and yeah, you still find farm, but peel alone isn't really enough nowadays, especially against tankier targets like the Mars or hard hitting targets like the Clinks and Monkey King.
Yeah. It's it's definitely a very confident pick, I feel, from EHOME.Immortal to go into that PL. Even with the Clinks, right? Like, you don't need to build into the Deso if you wanted to just go Orchid. If you don't have another natural Orchid carrier this game, I don't actually think that would be too bad. Assuming that he can have a repeat performance on this Clinks, but rather than going for the Desolator, you just pick up the Orchid instead. They're basically around the same cost anyway. Uh, Arguably even easier to build into. Because you can buy a lot of smaller items for that Clinks. So
Right.
eHome, maybe with this last pick, they surprise us. They are still lacking their mid
10
pickup, unless it's
seconds
going to be a mid
remaining.
Pangolier.
RNG's turn to pick.
I believe that should be a mid Kunkka. And
Yeah.
seems
It's
okay.
solid.
Yeah.
Yeah, that gives you durability here. It ties into the team fight. The Pango gives you solid control coming out. The durability you've got from Dazzle Kunkka is pretty insane. So there is that. Whether or not that's enough to ride through the physical damage Clink's
10
Monkey and
seconds
Mars
remaining.
brings, though, is a different question. So we'll just see how well
5
eHome
seconds
pulls
remaining.
off that timing. Key thing is it's a balancing act between getting your PL early farm and having the Dazzle hit its high point as well of level 18. So you kind of need to stall the game, but you don't really want to stall it too long. It's a bit of a weird power spike timing for eHOME.I. RNG is a bit more steady upwards. Scale, it's pretty straightforward. And no matter what they close out here, I think you're not really gonna have issues. Like, a lot of the mids are gone. You still have the DK on hand if you wanted that for RNG, just to give yourself a little bit more push, if you wanted to. Kinda ties into this draft pretty nicely. You do lack greater AoE control with the
Right.
heroes you have from RNG. You've got the Monkey King for 1 stun, and the Mars Arena, that's it. So EHOME again is on top of the teamfight control, but they were in that point as well in game 1 of their draft.
Choose your
Okay, they go into a Weaver though this time, John. That's quite intriguing. So Monet's going to take the Weaver this time around. You do have the X there to try and catch this Weaver out, so it's not exactly the freest Weaver game. But the idea may be that there's so many things to try and catch this game that you're going to have to make a very important decision, right? Do you want Monet on the Weaver? Do you want September on the Clinks? Do you want Setsu on the Monkey King? You know, all these heroes can escape so easily. It's going to be a very interesting game once again. And ironically enough, we've kind of switched the roles now. Where last game, EHOME.Immortal, they needed to finish that game quick. This time around, they just want to drag out the game. Not necessarily as long as possible, because you are still going into that Monkey King Weaver Clinks, which is still very dangerous in the ultra late game. But you need enough time to allow Shira to get online.
Yeah. Yeah, it's again, that power spike they've got in their team is rather awkward. It's not the best. I think again the key timings are Shira's farm, as you mentioned, and Planet's EXP. You have to hit 18 in Dazzle, and then you really aim to actually play as aggressive as possible. You don't want the Weaver to have the Ags at the end, and then you've got the Clinks, Monkey King, Mars, who could just go back to full anytime. These are tricky targets to already pin down. Maybe not the Clinks, but the Monkey and Mars are already really tanky cores if they play their cards right. Once you have enough space on Monet for the Ags, it's tricky to lock them in. So there's a timing issue there for EHOME.i. We'll see if they can hit that early, late game timing they're looking for. RNG, man, they have a lot of physical. You know, it's like Clinks, Mars, Monkey, and Weaver. They right-click like trucks. So EHOME has to be really careful because that can really pile up in fights.
You'd love to see something like a Crimson Guard this game, just to kind of reduce some of that physical damage that's coming in. The only thing is, I don't know if Planet will actually go for that. Like, it's not really an item you see very often on a core Dazzle. You might just opt to try and go for that sustain build, which we see every single time from these Dazzles. But there's a bit of an issue in that, right? Because with all this crazy burst physical damage they have on RNG side, that sustain may not mean anything. Especially if Planet ends up dying early on.
Yeah, it's going to be an issue. I think I wouldn't actually mind that Crimson Guard rush, like you mentioned. Maybe putting the Guardian Greaves in backseat. Go for the mech anyway, but upgrade later and just try to get that Crimson Guard. That's going to stop a lot of the early damage of RNG, and that puts, like, say, the support Clinks in an awkward spot where his damage is basically halved as a support. So that's a really valued pickup for EHOME.i if they get the space. So it's still an issue of space as well for all of their heroes. You kind of have to try to find a way of getting equal farm priority on all these big cores that they have.
Absolutely. We'll see how it all pans out, John. It's going to be arguably a hard game, but I think they're not so locked in with their draft this time that they might have a much better chance than they did last game around on the side of EHOME.Immortal. I'm curious as well, what build do you think September goes for this time around? Like, does he bother with the Deso this game? Because you've already got that Weaver there that could build the same thing.
Yeah, I think I wouldn't mind if September could go to Deso himself. I think it's a much more value pickup for the Clinks than the Weaver. Weaver would enjoy something like the Maelstrom, or if he feels the need to, maybe a defensive item like the Lincolns, or if he's looking for stats or more early fight, Diffusal, SNY, something like that. It's a lot more varied. For September, if he just is the one to invest into the minus armor, it's not a big loss for that Weaver.
They've brought ZZQ into that safe lane there with Shiro, so you do have the Shadow Demon up against the Mars, but the one issue there is September's there on the Clinks. So you can't really trade with the Clinks either. The idea here is ZZQ should be able to harass out Flyone in this lane and give space to Shiro, but you can't really do that as long as September's around.
Yeah, it's a tricky proposition. Like, ZZQ's trying to pump out the Shadow Poison, but it takes him a lot of mana. He's gonna drain faster than September is just by the Searing Arrows trade, and that just takes away some of the presence the Shadow Demon has as well.
Of course, even in that mid lane, it's Blood versus Setsu, Monkey King versus Kunkka. Not exactly a Kunkka-favored matchup either. It's a bit of a tough one, as bot lane is where we'll see the first blood happen. Planet, he does end up going down on the Dazzle, and that was the core Dazzle dying. YDS will at least be able to get some XP and gold for himself, but it's not a good sign if that Dazzle's first blood.
No, definitely not. Like, you want that hero to have a pretty good ramp up to 6, a good ramp into the mech or the Necronomicon 1, as we tend to see. And when you're slowed down, he doesn't flash farm fast. So that's going to be an issue, and they need to protect those side lanes, but that means Blood left alone up against Setsu. You already mentioned it, but Setsu has the range advantage. He has the sustain advantage. He's just going to be able to take control of that mid lane.
YDS doing his best to try and trade with Super there on the Bane. It's just such a hard kind of lane to trade with. Mid lane, Blood almost goes down again. Looks like Setsu is really applying quite a lot of pressure in this mid. I believe that's either the second or third salve usage we've seen out of Blood now. Definitely the second. Well, Blood, he can't really do much. Like, you look at Setsu's items, John, he hasn't used anything yet. He just uses a Share Tango now. That's how well his lane's going.
Yeah, and it's that sustain the Monkey King has that just comes in. Every single time Blood goes in for a last hit, you're going to be copping the hits, the Jingu builds up, Setsu will get free lifesteal off, and suddenly you just can't apply pressure. So they've got to find a way to rectify that, or just accept that all Blood will do is probably just throw out the boat by the time he hits 6. He's not going to have any sort of EXP or farm advantage for the most part of this early game.
Oh, bot lane again. They end up dropping Planet. YDS trying to trade there with Super, but he just brain saps. And now Monet, thinking about the dive, he'll just go for it. In fact, no, he will turn around now, realizing that he's not got Sakuchi on a high level to really be able to spam it out constantly. So it does take a fair bit of damage from that tier 1 tower. I just don't think he cares, though. He really just doesn't seem to mind at all.
He definitely doesn't. Like, Planet in this case, he can play around with the Shadow Wave, but it's not really doing damage to Monet. You know, when you cast that Poison Touch, you want to catch Super out as well, but Super's spacing has been really disciplined. So you're really not able to even shove out that support, and this is going to slow down Planet by a significant amount. The bright side is YDS gets a lot of lane EXP, but your core Dazzle is most definitely not finding that early farm you want him to have.
Meanwhile, September actually does lose his Kuri out of those illusions that were created by the Shadow Demons. Easy Q. He came in to secure the Power Rune and does take the Illusion Rune in the end. September still wanted to try and go for some harassment to that Shadow Demon, but obviously ends up losing his Kuri in the process. And well, now he's going to make a rotation mid. In fact, never mind, he'll TP down bot. They might go after Planet again. There's that Nightmare coming up. Monet will break it straight away, but now the Clinks is here. Planet can't survive it. The Pos 5 Bane as well, he's just so tanky, even just with the Magic Wand and the spare Ironwood branch. He just doesn't take much damage.
Yeah, it's a hard lane for EHOME.I to try to contest. Even with that support rotation out from September, you look up top, like that space given to the PL, it's not doing anything for our PL. He's still struggling to farm.
Mid lane, Setsu ends up killing off the Kunkka to make matters worse. Though, nice trade there from Planet. Great shallow wave there that just kind of kills him off with all the creeps around. It was a nice kill. Still, if you are this Monkey King, you're not really going to be too upset about that. Sure, you'd prefer not to die, but you're sitting at level 6, the Conker's sitting at level 4. And even the Dazzle, like, he was just at that level 3 mark before that kill, and that kill actually got him to level 4. But now Blood, coming in mid lane, trying to deal with September, but Setsu's going to be back.
Yeah, and you've got 3 heroes from EHOME.I up, which means the side lanes can be easier for RNG to maximize. And
there's 4 heroes
trying
mid.
to salvage.
There's
they're
literally
trying to
4
salvage
heroes
Blood's
mid.
lane. Yeah, but it's not paying off right now. Like, look at Setsu, he doesn't care.
Well, he might be in trouble now, but no, it's going to be Super that gets in trouble. Is he though? He's just so tanky on that Pos 5 Bane. They can't kill him. They won't even try. Like, he could just still brain sap his HP back.
It's a concern for EHOME.I. The biggest thing wasted was really Planet's rotation. Like, yeah, he had to TP in to find that kill, but he's missing out in side lane farm. Monet gets a lot more farm in exchange. Her Weaver's just about to hit 6. Once you hit that 6 mark in the Weaver in this game, you're not going to be killing him off unless you throw your entire lineup at him.
Speaking of the Weaver, Monet is diving Planet. Will time-lapse away now, going back in onto YDS. Super going to rotate around as the Bane now, going still after that Dazzle. Torrent going to be there with the disruption. They've got 4 heroes down here to try and combat this, and they might kill off Super this time around. They do X him back, and now RNG will need to back out of there. As it is a 4v2 scenario. Monet will oblige, and I believe September will do the same. Though he may need to TP, as Blood is still around the corner. He doesn't have X, however. So ultimately, September, he's just going to use the Skeletal Walk and just walk his way out. In fact, walk back in. He's going to go after Blood or ZZQ here. And, well, this poor Kunkka, this nightmare may not be over quite yet. Setsu's 2 levels above, and you've got some added damage now from September if he needs it.
Yeah, it's not smooth going for Blood. Again, RNG just setting up for another set of punishment here.
Blood, he at least has ZZQ around to try and disrupt if he needs it. Super will show himself. They'll go for the disruption onto the Monkey King. Torrent will connect as well. And here comes YDS with Planet. They do rotate a lot. In fact, a 5th hero coming in as well. ZZQ will die regardless though. But if they can kill off Setsu, it may all be worthwhile. They do get Super. Setsu's still trying to make a run for it. Blood, can he get a Torrent here? Setsu, he will dodge it out. But no, the Swashbuckle will be out from YDS. And they do at least get 2 for 1. That Monkey King dying is actually a pretty big deal in some sense. You give a lot of XP over to Shiro as well in that PL. Only thing is, though, you are dragging 5 heroes down. Well, now YDS might die anyway if he's not too careful. Looks like Monet will choose not to chase him down.
Yeah, it's a great pickup on the Monkey, as you mentioned. That gave them a decent amount of gold. You're still looking at a 3k advantage for RNG. I mean, you look up top, that PL lane, it's not amazing. Like, Flywin is finding a bit more. So your PL, it's not exactly getting free farm here. It's still pretty decent, but, you know, you're still behind. And that's really one of the heroes you want to be up and running fast for EHOME, and it's just not happening just quite yet because of these movements you're forced to do.
Well, RNG is going to keep their farm up. They're not in too much of a rush right now. This is definitely a slower kind of game for them than last game was. And I say that, they are still dominating quite easily right now, but definitely need a few core items up before you can try to make any form of play. And as I've seen from the past few attempts at ganks, they're willing to rotate 5 in. If it means at least getting a trade here, so RNG just unwilling to try and make anything happen quite yet. You are still just slowing down the farm of every hero on the side of EHOME.Immortal though. Like, Planet still can't get any farm on this Dazzle. He's trying to, but even underneath this tier 1 tower, Monet is not making him feel very comfortable. Just getting the denies off, constantly Sakuchiing through. With the time-lapse, he just feels so safe to do so. And even then, you don't even know where September is. He was just taking your bounty rune, and he could be just behind you, waiting for that initiation.
Yeah, it's the pressure RNG is still applying on the map, despite not really fighting as often. And the farm disparity for EHOME.I is pretty bad. Again, Shiro is doing okay, but the sacrifices you've made on your Kunkka and Dazzle is going to cost you, especially that Dazzle. Planet's just not a flash farming hero. Once he has a Necronomicon, that can kick up a bit, but not much. So you're always going to be playing slightly behind, and EHOME.I, they've got to slow this game down a bit more. It's not quite the case for RNG that they're running all over the map, finding objectives, sure. But you need to find farm as well, because you're just not quite getting that distribution out.
Well, the thing is as well, like, all these engagements that have happened in the mid lane was without Flywin. He was just chilling out farming top. Imagine you'd have that Arena of Blood in those instances. I don't think it would have been the same kind of result as they were for the side of EHOME.Immortal had that been the case. Now September even just stalking Blood, soaking XP for himself. He takes a couple creep kills as well. Makes his way up top where we will see a smoke coming out from EHOME.Immortal. TZQ gonna have his smoke broken now by September, who will just stick by. Fiend's Grip gonna be there onto the PL now. He got the real PL, but a nice disruption out. Now the arena does drop, and Flyone gets the perfect spear off. YDS just unable to help right now with that Rolling Thunder. ZZQ dies as well, though a nice boat flying in from Blood. He almost gets super, now does, but it will cost him his life. And YDS is just going to have to go on the run, but another great spear out from Flyone is going to set up a 4-for-1 trade. Planet 240 can only just run. And I don't even know if he's safe there behind the trees. Flyone's still waiting to try and find an angle here. He won't. Planet will get himself out. But a 4-for-1 trade, and you're going to lose that top tier one as well. It's just not good news.
Nah, definitely not. From a 3k lead for RNG up to a 6k advantage now. EHOME.I, they're losing way too many heroes in these engagements. They should just pull back. You know, cut your losses. You can't play aggressive anymore. You have to wait for your PL to at least get the Diffusal up, and you have to wait for your Dazzle to at least finish the Necronomicon 1. Even with these items, you're not set to fight, but at least you have those tools on hand if you need to fight. They really just have to pull back, try to play the farming game a bit more, and just don't engage with RNG. RNG now, I mean, they're looking really strong. Like, you saw the effect of the Arena of Blood, like you were talking about it, but the moment the Mars joined in, it became so much easier for RNG to just clean up a big engagement like that.
Top lane, YDS just gonna have to Rolling Thunder out of there as Monet was just chasing him down a little bit. The Sakuchi initiation, and Monet does have the Maelstrom coming out as well. So there's more damage output now there for that Weaver. Nice little damage kind of power spike. Blood trying to chase down Flyone. This could be dangerous. They know the Weaver's around the corner. They won't end up trying to chase him down too far. They will just get back to farming the bot lane. Looks like there is going to be a Fiend's Grip catching Shiro again. September's there with the damage, and Monet is as well. Super was the one who takes the kill on the Bane, but it doesn't matter. You found the POS 1 PL. He's still sitting at level 10, and his farm's just suffering so much with all these kills happening.
Yeah, he's really got no safe space to farm in the jungle. Planet's in there. So is Blood, so it's down to Shiro to really try to take that short lane, and it's just so exposed. Super's got the control, RNG has the damage. They're just not finding the spikes they need here in EHOME.I, and they're going to lose their bot tower as well.
But they are. They won't, they will glyph it. It'll be fine. They smoke up as well into that mid lane where the boat was flying in to Setsu, but a great dodge. And now, Wukong's command's going to fly out. He's going to try and fight back. Setsu is falling very low, however, and they do secure the kill. Here comes Flyone, though, with the arena, but Super also dies, and now the disruption will save the Shadow Demon. September trying to secure ZZQ, but he can't quite do it. And EHOME.Immortal, they take a great team fight this time around, finding a 2-for-0 trade. It was a great start there from Setsu with that Mischief dodge, but ultimately, EHOME, they make it work.
Yeah, it's the best pick-off they've gotten so far. That does give them a nice gold injection, and they managed to secure the mid-tier one, so looking pretty good. Issue is, you know, they did end up losing that bot tier one, so it's a tower for a tower still. Just a bit more control for EHOME.I, but they are still playing at a deficit.
Oh, September. Playing quite dangerously here, but he does have a TP in from Monet. They really seem to want to go after YDS. They can't cancel his TP, but maybe they could kill him in time. Not quite. Projectiles are still in the air chasing the poor Pangolier down, but he is going to be perfectly fine in that fountain. And, well, there they are. They finally do reach him. September's just going to keep going, though. Blood, he's going to split out this Kunkka now. And it's just the idea of just slowing down the farm of EHOME as much as possible, right? Just forcing them back constantly.
Yeah,
fact-
they've got some sentries around though.
Oh, Blood. He doesn't realize. Sentry going to be there. He wants to go with the X-Boat, but Setsu is around the corner as well. Monet, Arena going to be out, trying to go into ZZQ there. He will not get caught yet, but he's almost dead. Now the Rolling Thunder, cancelled by the Fiend's Grip of Super, and they'll find a third. The Planet's going to get chased down here on the Dazzle. Yeah, Shallow Grave, but I don't believe it's going to mean he gets out of this. He just delays things out. Monet has time lapse anyway, so he'll be perfectly fine. And it'll be a triple kill out for Flywind.
It's a great fight for RNG again. EHOME.I just trying to counter back, but they can't really find too much when RNG brings their full force in a timely manner. They are giving space towards Shiro. I guess in the end, that's what you're really getting from this. And he does finish up his defusal. I believe that is flying out. But he still has a long way to go in the PL. There's still a lot of room to grow in. Ooh, nice chop. Stops that chase from Setsu.
Setsu's still going to chase him down, though, it seems. Unless there could be a mid-fight going on. They got an X off onto Super. No way to really stun him up, though. He does Nightmare dodge the shield crash as well. Still just buying time. He kills off CCQ. Now September dodges the Torrent, but Rolling Thunder is going to be there. They do X him up as well. Rolling Thunder doesn't connect, but the Torrent boat will. They will secure that kill. However, well, I thought they may have lost the PL in the process. He is still fine. Shiro manages to run away in EHOME. Smelling blood in the water, want to keep going. Blood, Torrent, doesn't connect. Setsu, looks like he'll just tree jump himself out of there. And Flywind could still be in a bit of danger, but he's used that blink to that little corner there in the tree line. He'll be fine. There's still signs of life here from EHOME.Immortal. They've got to be careful, though.
Yeah, they don't have their big ult, so can be in a spot of trouble if the fight is forced out.
There it is. Arena of Blood comes out. Planet going to be the one in trouble. Shallow Grave out very, very early on, but he understands he is dead. And now they'll chase for more. Boundless Strike a bit early, not cancelling YDS's TP, but it doesn't matter. You found the core Kunkka. And that's all you wanted in the first place. Setsu just back into the mid lane.
Yeah, it's still a very big win for RNG. They're finding all the big kills in exchange. I mean, all they really lost earlier on was September, which doesn't really matter. It's a support Clinks. September's also building up quite nicely despite being kind of that sacrificial pawn a bit forward. Has 45 death pack damage. As the medallion is getting that Desolator up, so this does allow Monet again to go for that more defensive build. Saving up for his Lincoln, Snex, and Weaver. It's almost there. Once that is up, I mean, you're going to have a hard time keeping him pinned. All you really have is the Kunkka, X, and the Disruption from the Shadow Demon. One of those will be cancelled off with the initial reveal, so that can complicate matters for EHOME.I as they still continue to try to build up. Shiro is lagging behind our Weaver by about 3k now. 10,005 versus 7,004 in terms of net worth. That's not a great spot for our PL. He really needs to just sit back and try to farm up.
I mean, he's trying his absolute best. But now another team fight might break out. Monet, he's baiting them in. He knows they're there. Boat's going to fly out. Flywind Arena doesn't hit with the spear, though. Planet's still going to be in trouble. He does get the Shallow Grave off, and now the disruption out from ZZQ as well. But Planet is definitely just going to die, and now they'll chase down that Shadow Demon. ZZQ will die as well, and Shiro, well, all he can do is just TP away from them. And YDS, well, he'll try to swashbuckle away, but the likelihood is he is also going to die here unless Rolling Thunder, it does come out, he gets a bounty, and he is TPing out of there, so he's actually going to make it. Super could not break the gap to get the Fiend's Grip cancellation off, but they're going to go for a Roshan now.
Yeah, it's there's nothing from EHOME.I to stop them. They just used the spells. They were aware of that. They had to TP home. No way to get in here in time, and that's the first rush of the game going to RNG very easily.
They have a lot of damage. Setsu, he'll be the one to take the Aegis. In fact, Setsu has his own Maelstrom now up on that Monkey King. And looks like they may have spotted out Blood taking that outpost of theirs. He will get out in time though. Super won't be there to be able to cancel that TP. And with that, it is going to be a 5v3 up at that top lane. It's a good opportunity here for EHOME.Immortal. Arena of Blood is back up now, but YDS is still going forward, trying to chase them down. The problem is, though, you don't have Rolling Thunder. So you can't really catch anyone.
Rather unfortunate that they don't really have the easiest way to gap close right now from EHOME.Immortal's side, but RNG, they just get to pull back, keep building up. We've talked about their progression. I think you look at EHOME.I, Shiro's trying to build up to the S and Y, which is not the most typical, but when you need to in blood.
Yeah, he's been caught out. He does get the boat out in time. That might give him enough to survive. Though no, Monet's here now. September is as well. The boat run is going to be nice, but I don't believe it will be nice enough. His blood is still just trying to run, but Fly1 just blinks and gets the God's Rebuke off. Maybe mid lane they can make a fight happen, though no. Fiend's Grip is going to be there on YDS. He had the Wukong's command out just in case, and with that, YDS, he will be able to get away for now. A nice Shallow Grave out from Planet 240. Super still in the chase in September. He just cuts him off. Now going after that Dazzle. Monet is also just going to cut him off, and he doesn't have the Shallow Grave to use now. So he will just go down. And in fact, the only person to survive once again is going to be that PL.
Yeah, this doesn't bode well for EHOME.I. Like, they are giving the space they need to the PL, but we talked about the Dazzle having sensitive timings. Man, he's not even close to a mech. You know, he's not even close to it. He's saving up for the mech. But it's at this point where you tend to see Dazzles with the mech, maybe very close to the Guardian Greaves. Maybe they have the pipe on the way as well.
Oh.
None of that is up and running.
Just high ground, I guess. I didn't quite think they were going to go high ground this early on. But they definitely
there's nothing
can.
to stop them.
I suppose you're right. There literally is nothing to stop them right now. With that Aegis, you're going to be feeling quite confident. They'll throw the Torrent boat out though. Setsu, Nightmare is actually going to juke out a lot of that damage. Now Fly1 gets an arena off. So ZZQ, Shallow Grave will be there in time from Planet. Setsu is falling low, but that's the Aegis going down. Now Shiro joining in on the PL, but can he actually help this team fight? They're going to just try and swarm Setsu. It's going to be a decent Torrent as well. Another Nightmare out on Setsu. He's still trying to survive though. No, he does finally go down. Now maybe they can try and turn this, but they've got to have some catch here. Monet, time lapse, he does get it off, but he could be in trouble. Sakuchi away, is it going to be enough? I believe the Purge should kick in and kill him, and YDS gets it anyway. So a nice little punishment there from EHOME.Immortal. They do get 2 cores for losing their rack, so it's not all bad news, and well, they're going to smoke up.
Yeah, this is a bit of an opening for them. If they can catch it, some stragglers, they know the big cores aren't there to do damage. They don't have the team fight spells available as well, so they can keep that punishment going.
They do get the X off on Super. He wasn't expecting this though. Nice Nightmare to dodge out that X back. He should still die here. Do just slow him up with that Diffusal Blade from Shiro, and that will be another kill for the side of EHOME.Immortal. That golden XP is going to be feeling quite nice for them after those last few kills. And with that, they can also just go after that tier 2 bot tower.
Yeah, a bit of a nice objective for them to pump up the net worth just a bit, take control on a decent part of the map. Should be able to play around that jungle area a bit more, try to escalate in that way, and they do drag the net worth back by about a K, just down to 13 for RNG. Still, you've got progress here. September has the Desolator up. Damage is going to kick in. You look at Fly1, he's saving up for his BKB, recipe away.
YDS, can't roll out of that. The army will just ruin you as you're rolling out.
Ooh.
So Blood, at least he has the Heaven's Halberd up, and you've even got the mech there on Planet, so there are ways to delay all this damage output coming up from RNG throughout the next team fights. And as well as that, because he found the Aegis there on Setsu as well as his life, he's not going to be willing to go high ground anytime soon.
No,
but I imagine RNG will be comfortable to try and push a tier 2 tower.
Yeah, it's going to be straightforward for them again. With that Desolator up and the Maelstrom up on Monet, objectives melt really fast. So RNG, they're going to be able to apply that pressure. They're just basically saving up for BKBs. Like you're seeing that coming out on Setsu, you're seeing that coming out from Fly1. Once they have that, it's going to be harder to control these big heroes, although...
Torrent, boat going to fly out. Fly1's going to be in danger here. He drops the arena, but he is surrounded. He will die very, very easily once he is surrounded by that many heroes. And well, Shiro's gotten to that point now, John, where he is starting to hit quite hard on that PL. You've got to be a little bit careful about how much you overextend with your positioning.
Yeah, he's bounced back quite well. He's above the 2 other cores from RNG, only behind Monet, which is not really. It's a really good spot for the PL to be at, and he can start to be a menace. He's saving up for the Satanic. RNG, we've seen them have issues with isolating that real PL in a big fight. That's something EHOME.Immortal can play around with quite nicely. They're just causing enough havoc and dealing enough damage in the downtime that RNG just can't isolate the big heroes.
Shiro, he's going to go after that top tier 1 tower. Meanwhile,
Radiant's top tower has fallen.
there was going to be a fight breaking out, but everyone just kind of runs. Still Shiro, he's been left up top by himself. He'll go for a TP, but a nice spear there with the scouting from September. He'll doppel, try to make a run for it, but now Monet's there with the swarm. And Shiro, understanding there's no way to survive this, will just try and fight back. But you really can't.
Nah. It's a nice pickup for RNG. Does mean that you're not seeing that PL for a minute, no buyback there, so they can easily secure another tier 2 if they wanted to. Are setting up on the top lane. You see EHOME.I just stick around bot, trying to find her own farm. Slowly starting to trickle in just a bit. The biggest issue here is really just Planet getting EXP. If you can give your Dazzle level 18, you've got a massive spike lining up there for EHOME.Immortal, so they just need to give Planet some space to find that, have him finish up the Guardian Greaves as well, and suddenly RNG, they're going to take a lot longer to find those kills.
Dire's top tower is under attack. Dire's structures are fortified.
We'll get started. Gonna try for that tier 2, however, bottom tier 3 towers being pushed in here. They've got those Necro 1 units as well, so somebody's going to have to come back and defend. It'll be Setsu on the Monkey King. Take care of it. They do claim the tier 2 tower. Still EHOME.Immortal, just doing the right thing. Staying away, trying to farm up the best they possibly can. And just split pushing the map. Take an outpost while they're there as well. Blood just going to take it for himself. RNG, however, they smoke up, they want to try and get more pickoffs going, and they might just run straight into YDS. Now they definitely will see him, and Primal Spring in from Setsu. They're just going to go for the easy support kill. I don't believe that actually scouted out the PL there. YDS, though, tries to go for the roll TP, but they'll just Fiends grip him.
It's buying time for EHOME.I to farm elsewhere. So it's not the worst sacrifice to make. You're seeing build up in blood. It's going for, I believe that's his BKB he's saving up for. Fairly close to it. You've got enough time on the Planet that he has the Guardian Greaves. So that sustain is going to kick in. Really still want to see that level 18 on the Dazzle, but this is a start. And of course the farm on Shiro, just the Reaver away from the Satanic. So you've got a lot of sustain now coming out here. You're going to lose easy Q though.
Yeah, you are.
That's fine.
He's gonna get the Ghost Scepter off. Maybe that's enough? No. Brain Sap is there from Super. He will secure the kill. And, well, they're getting to that point now where they might think about going high ground again very, very soon. There is a Roshan available, though, so you might want to go for that, though. Monet, he's just going straight after Shiro now on that PL. Doppel will be there. Planet around the corner, just ready to help out, though. No Shallow Grave coming out in time. And now the Arena does catch him out. YDS does die. The Nightmare's there. And, well, Planet, he can try to Shallow Grave himself, but he doesn't get that off either. And, well, Flywood's up on the high ground. They've still got a tier 2 tower down at the bot lane. So they can't quite go for that. They're going to try top instead.
Yeah, that's a interesting choice from Flywind, but I guess creep cutting's fine. They transition to the top set of racks as well. And there's just no buybacks being committed, so they're going to lose these objectives on top of everything else.
Yeah, I mean, you can just turn around for that tier 2 now if you wanted to. Looks like RNG is going to do that. They ping it out. They're going to start making their way down bot. And the beauty is you're going to have a creep wave waiting for you there. Just on the way now. So EHOME.Immortal, I mean, they're going to have to get ready for another high ground defense attempt. As really, you didn't use any ultis apart from that Arena of Blood, but it's up in a second. But no. They back out. Daedalus is brought up by Monet, and they might just go Roshan.
Yeah, it's the safer play. RNG's not in a rush. They've still got a substantial lead. What the hell is that in Super?
But what is it? Oh,
He got
he's
banned.
buying a Crimson Guard.
Yeah, that's I mean that's great, not typical, but we were looking for the Dazzle to go this route, not Super. Still, it's gonna be out, and that's gonna severely hinder the damage those illusions do. And Roche, it's just gone.
I actually love that from Super. Even the casual Vanguard right now that he has going for himself, building into that Crimson, like, it just makes the Bane so much harder to deal with. He's sitting there with 1.8k HP, with damage block now. And it's like, you want to kill this Pos 5 Bane to start the team fight off, but you just can't get through all this HP. As now, ZZQ, who doesn't have his own Vanguard, by the way, will get caught out. Shallow Grave is going to be there, but the arena does trap him in anyway. He's going to die. He'll buy back immediately, however. RNG, do you want to take the fight? They do. Still got that Aegis up, of course, on Monet. And now you've got an Aghanim Scepter coming out on the Clinks. In fact, it is there. Rolling Thunder, YDS going to start getting started. There's going to be a boat coming in. And Torrent Storm as well from Blood. That could make all the difference. Monet, no, he gets a time lock off in time. And now with that, Blood is being chased down. Shallow Grave will be there. Boundless as well from Setsu. Can they kill off the Kunkka? They definitely can. Monet, meanwhile, just cleaning up the rest. YDS, he will go down as well. And Shiro, it's just him and the Dazzle left.
Oh no.
They've got no buybacks left. Shiro, he's trying to juke them out with his illusions, but he just can't.
Is under attack.
And that's it. They call it. GG well played.
Ooh.
RNG, they will take a very, very dominant first series at 2-0, and I believe both games didn't even last 60 minutes. It was around
No.
55 minutes total.
Yeah, it's really quick from RNG. Really solid performance. EHOME.I, there were some moments of brilliance, some really bright shines there in the two games, but not quite enough to topple RNG. And RNG give themselves a really good start, 2-0. Rather unfortunate for EHOME.I, but that's the way it crumbles. You know, sometimes it's just hard when you go against these tier of teams.
Yeah, it definitely is. RNG, you know, arguably, not even arguably, they are one of the top teams in China right now for sure.
Yeah.
Whether you'd call them number one is an entirely different story. Like, you've still got PSG or GD there, of course. Even Vici Gaming are looking quite scary as of late. Still, we'll see how it all pans out, John. As we do have Vici Gaming versus IG coming up next. And that should be a much closer matchup than this one was, for sure. It is MLP and johnxfire. As it stands, I believe we will be starting it again in about 20 minutes from now for that next series. I don't believe we're sticking to schedule. I believe it is just going to be a rolling schedule, but I'll have to double check that with the admins and see exactly what time they want to start the next series up. You'll see the timer get updated down at the bottom of the screen anyway. Once it is up. So we'll see you all again very, very soon for that second series of the day.